partly because of the TV.
Okay. Okay.
That's why I'm sitting.
I thought you were going to say you're here for the food. And so for those that I'm meeting for the first time, I'm Gregory Bennett. I've been investing, I always just say 30 years, but it's been longer. Doc is probably older than me. Just giving you a shout out, Doc. But I started my career off buying and holding. And I started buying and holding in DC a year out of college. And I've been investing ever since. I started wholesaling about, I don't know, probably 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. Just really as an agent. I started investing, and then the real estate agents were moving a little too slow for me. So I later got my real estate license and sold real estate for many years. I bought a real estate franchise, Exit Bennett Realty. We did that for 10 years. And then in 2017, we left that model and became an independent real estate company in 2017. A number of my agents are here. Some of my agents have been here for a long, long time and was with me during those days. And so one of the reasons why I got into real estate investing is because at 17 years old, I read an encyclopedia that basically that was the way to wealth. And I read that, and it had an impact on me. So like I said, a year out of college, I just started investing as a way to educate the community and educate my agents. We started Bennett boot camps many years ago. I saw the price of, like Kim said, I saw the price of learning how to invest and build wealth was too high. So I said, let me start my own company. And so we did that. We have a coaching program that Keith helps me run, our platinum coaching program. And so we do very well in all aspects. And so the two strategies for real estate investing is buying for cash as one strategy. And underneath buy for cash is wholesaling and flipping properties. And then the other strategy is buy for cash flow, equity, and appreciation. That's your buy and hold strategy. And so the magic is when you're able to combine the two strategies. And so for buying and holding, we're talking about buying and holding residential properties, Airbnb, assisted living facilities, multifamily. But then the question is, where does the cash come from for the buy and hold? And what one of the answers could be wholesaling real estate. And so this is an example of wholesaling. And so my last wholesale deal, which I think I closed maybe last week, was a property on Newcomb Street, where actually a guy who I went to church with, and I've been going to church with many years, gave me a call. He says, I got this property that I grew up in that I inherited a few years ago, really didn't do anything with it. It's in Southeast, close to actually where I went to high school, Ballou High School, right off of Malcolm X. And I went and took a look at it, needed a lot of work, and I made him an offer, and we went under contract. So him and I went under contract for I don't even remember the price now. But anyway, we went under contract, and I knew because of the scope of work of the property that I didn't want to hold it. Initially, I said, I'm going to hold this property. I can make this property into a 5-bedroom. I can keep this property forever. It's in DC. It's going to appreciate. I'm buying it. And when I finish renovating it, I'll have at least $100,000 in equity. And then that part of town, Congress Heights, is really appreciating. But then I looked at all the work, and it was going to cost me $175, $180 to renovate. So I just decided just to go ahead and wholesale the property. Go ahead and take my contract and try to assign my contract to a cash buyer. And so I marketed my contract to a number of different cash buyers. I put it on a number of different lists. And I finally was able to get a contract for only, I think, well, not only, I think it was $15,000 more than my contract. So I had my contract, which I call the A to B contract, the purchase contract that I signed with the seller. And then me and the cash buyer signed what I call the B to C contract, the assignment contract. So there's two contracts in wholesaling. There's a contract between the motivated seller and the wholesaler / buyer. And then me and the cash buyer signed a second contract, the B to C contract, the assignment agreement. And so we signed the assignment agreement. Now we have two contracts. And then probably within maybe 3 weeks, we, long story short, we closed on the deal. And title company wired me the $15,000. That's an example of wholesaling. And so with wholesaling, I didn't sell the property. I assigned the contract. So wholesalers, we're not in the business of selling real estate. We're in the business of assigning contracts. And so that's really wholesaling in a nutshell. Any questions so far? Go ahead.
When you purchase or when you set up the contract with the seller, do you how does that work as far as are you agreeing to purchase the property?
Yes.
And okay.
And so I'm agreeing to purchase the property. I'm not letting that seller know that I may or may not assign the contract, but in writing, I'm letting him know. In our contract, in two different places, it says I have the right to assign the contract. And so in the contract, I said the buyer is my LLC, Benedictine Properties LLC, and or assigns. So the buyer is either me or whoever I sign a contract to. And then I think in paragraph 6 or 7, it also says that I have the right to assign the contract. So it's all in writing. It's all very transparent. Lori, can you get your husband under control? And so that's wholesale. We wholesale as an exit strategy. I first thought that I was going to hold the property. Then I decided to wholesale that property. We wholesale the property because it's of all the strategies, it's very, very little to no risk. I didn't put in that transaction, I didn't put up any money. I didn't use any of my credit. All I did was find that property, and just through networking and branding through my church, he knew that I was an investor, so he gave me a call. And then, so he called me. I negotiated because I ran my numbers, and we'll go over the numbers in a second. And so I knew what a good deal would be. And then I found the cash buyer, and I'll teach you guys how to find cash buyers. And I knew that I had to have the two contracts. And then I closed the deal with him, and it was very smooth. I sent it to an investor-friendly title company, or should I say a wholesaling-friendly title company, which is Celebrate Settlements. They're in the back. We've got some representatives here. So they're very familiar with wholesaling. Most title companies are not. And you don't want to go to a title company that's not wholesale friendly, because they'll just mess the deal up. And we closed on it, and the title company wired me my money, wired the seller his money, and that was it in a nutshell. We've got Eric and we've got Dana here. Dana, give us an example of wholesaling in one of the deals that you've done.
Well, in my experience, wholesaling is extremely simple in reference to the whole process. So when it comes to buying and holding or flipping, to me, wholesaling is the simplest and the fastest, because either way you have to find the properties. That's the key, is to find the deals. And once you find a deal, what you do with it is up to you, what you decide. But especially starting off, wholesaling is the absolute best thing to do, because it familiarizes with in the process, you're getting to know cash buyers, you're getting the feel of talking to prospective motivated sellers. So you're getting into the system, you're getting familiarized with the whole situation that you're walking into. But once you get that contract signed, passing that off to your cash buyer, whoever you choose that to be, you're done. So I get the contract signed. I come to Gary, he's my cash buyer. And Gary wants the property, he's interested in it because I bought the house, the property properly under the Mayo formula, which is taught in the Platinum program. Gary wants it. Gary and I signed the assignment contract, the B2C contract. I'm out of it. I go sit on the bench and wait for Gary to run through all the defensive players and get to the goal line. And when he gets to the goal line, I walk to the goal line and say, okay, Gary, let me get mine. And I'm done. So it's great. It is a one-time hit. So once you get that wholesale fee, to me, the best thing to do is to use that to do some buying and holding, or flipping if you want to. But to me, buying and holding is the best because it's just a gift that keeps on giving. So every month I'm receiving income from my whole properties. But I got my whole properties by wholesale. So that gave me the money to go out and buy a property, pay closing costs, go to settlement, get a loan, go to settlement, and renovate the property and have tenants in it. So now for as long as that house stands or these houses stand, then I got income coming in. So that's getting into something else. But wholesaling is great.
Question?
Is there a when you approach the seller, is there a time frame that you negotiate with them as far as purchasing the property?
Yeah, and so on the contract, there's a settlement date. And so the settlement date can be as little as 2 weeks and probably on average as long as 30 days. If you're dealing with a cash buyer, your cash buyer is truly paying cash, then all you're doing is waiting for the title company to run the title work. And so not to rush them, we give them 2 weeks, but they can do it sooner than that. So at least 2 weeks, 2 weeks to 30 days is the time period.
I have a question. And I've heard wholesaling fees. Like, how do you calculate that, or is there a set fee of like a wholesaling fee? Because I know sometimes it can be between $5,000 and $10,000, like however. So how do you set that fee?
So let me get to that.
Oh, okay.
I'll get to that. Just hold your horses. Eric, talk to us about wholesaling.
Wholesaling in a nutshell is just what Dana just said, senior moment. You find in the deal. Once you find the deal, you work the numbers, you stick to the formula that Greg teaches, which is, I believe, 65% of the sale, the after repair value.
Mm-hmm.
And then you assign that contract to your cash buyer. But first, again, is finding that ready, willing, and able seller and negotiating the terms, getting it under contract, and then turning it over to your cash buyer.
Mm-hmm.
So in short, that's wholesaling 101. My last deal came by way of a referral through social media. There was a lender that used to be with PRMG, and we had a pretty good relationship. And he didn't know that, I was an agent investor until he saw me online. And he said, "Oh, Eric," he came across a deal and he called me and he said, "I saw you on social media, on Facebook. You do investing?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I may have a deal. Are you interested?" "Yeah." So long story short, that worked out. Greg was my cash buyer in that deal. It went to closing. I paid the gentleman a wholesale fee, a referral fee. At closing, I think I gave him maybe $700-800. I paid him in cash and all $100 bills just for wanted to make it real for him. And Greg knows him. Ironically enough, when I was getting ready to come here, he sent me a text. Can you read that, Greg?
Which
This one here.
Okay.
Says good morning.
Can I borrow your glasses?
Let me ask, let me see. Let me see. He sent me this text just
Can you
this
expand it?
Good morning.
Yeah.
Can you expand it?
No, it's a text message.
Yes, it's
Good morning, Eric. I may have an investor deal for you if you're interested. I'm meeting with someone Sunday, and if they can't meet my terms, I will reach out to you.
so he sent me another referral.
That's good. We got a question in the back.
Good morning, Michael.
Michael, are you a singer, Michael? You are a singer or on the radio? You got one of them radio
I get
voices.
it a lot.
Huh?
I get it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
You'll never find.
how was the experience for each of the three of you your first time wholesaling? How was
Cindy?
your experience?
Oh, I think I can speak for all of us. It was really good. It was good for them because I was their cash buyer. But so years ago, we were wholesaling, didn't even know it, it didn't really have a name to it. But no, it's been good. It's been great. I will say, other than buying and holding, which really brings you wealth, I think wholesaling is my favorite strategy because you're in and out. It's less risk. You're not putting up any money. The challenge, you guys, if you guys are taking notes, write this down. Your biggest challenge with wholesaling, you're going to walk out of here understanding how to wholesale. Your biggest challenge is finding the deals. That's your biggest challenge. And that's the roadblock for most people. And so for me, I made it a point early in my 20s when I got out of college, that wasn't going to be my roadblock. I made it a point that I said in my mind that I'm going to be the number one person on the block that can find deals. And so I just really made it my mission to be able to find deals. And so if you find a deal that's truly what we call a deal, and I'll explain in a minute what a real deal is, if you can find those deals, you've got a ton of cash buyers in this room that will buy that deal from you, that will walk you through the whole process of wholesaling. But the key to your success is figuring out how to find deals. That's the key to your success. And we'll give you different strategies. I've got investors in the room, some of my coaching students. But that's the biggest holdup that I see with investors not being able to find deals. Even if an investor is really good at finding deals and they want to buy and hold, and they have too many, to not over leverage themselves, the fallback is just wholesaling that deal. That's always the fallback. And so we've been averaging in this area. I'll say in DC, we average easily 20, 25,000, sometimes 30 on a wholesale deal. PG County, just a little less than that, 10, 15, 20,000 in PG County. Baltimore, a little less, but like you never know. And then the other thing is just knowing the numbers, knowing the real estate investing math. If you know the math and know your numbers and really good at your numbers and can stick to your numbers, that's really where you make your money. Because now you have power in negotiation because you know your numbers. You've got the leverage. And as long as you've got a good deal, you know your numbers. If Eric doesn't want my deal and I truly know my numbers, then I will surpass Eric and maybe go to Dana to get my numbers. And even in this market, one might say, well, we're in a market where interest rates are high. There is cash buyers that are hungry for deals. The problem with cash buyers, people who are flipping properties, developing properties, even buying and holding, their number one problem is they can't find deals. They don't take the time to find deals. They're holding, they're working a full-time job, they're entrepreneurs. They need, and so in the ecosystem of real estate investing, everybody needs each other. Wholesalers need cash buyers need wholesalers. As wholesalers, we get good at finding deals. And that's what you've got to get good at, finding deals. And I'll talk about that in a minute.
Could I speak real quick to, you asked about the first time, and Greg mentioned himself. But he's correct, because that's what made it relaxing for me, because I'm new. I just started marketing and driving for dollars, and boom, it came about. But I wasn't familiar with the system. So by me coming to Greg to be my cash buyer, by me selecting him to be my cash buyer, it made easy, because he's my mentor as well. So he just walked me through and taught me while he was handing me money, he was teaching me at the same time.
I have that too in one. So.
Yes.
And so Dana is a prime example of what I just described. At least initially, all Dana did and still does is just focus on finding deals. That's all he does. And like me, when I started selling real estate, all I did was focus on finding buyers and sellers. And I knew that, my knowledge of selling real estate would catch up. But I just want to be the best person at finding deals. Dana kind of said that to herself in terms of real estate investing. And we're not here yet, but tell them how did you go about finding your deals?
Driving for dollars was and you're gonna probably pick several ways that you can go about that. But for me, I chose driving for dollars because I have a permanent HVAC company, so I'm moving around all the time from customer to customer. While I'm doing that, I decided, well, I might as well write addresses down while I'm moving around. And I try to stay local in the part of Prince George's County, Capitol Heights, Suitland, that area. I try to keep my business so I'm not driving so far to run my calls, my service calls. And that's the prime real investment areas. So I just merged the two together, and it worked really well for me. Because most people have to wait till they get all work and go drive for dollars. Me, I'm working and driving for dollars at the same time. So it helped a lot.
So let's do some math real quick. And so I want you guys to maybe turn on the back of your handout. So here's the math. You guys put Susan to work. Are you on the clock? Am I paying you? No, because then Terry, I might have to pay Terry too.
Good to do that.
All right. And so investing in real estate, you guys, is a math problem. It's math, it's numbers. Like anything else, it's numbers. If you get your numbers right, you'll make a lot of money. If you get your numbers wrong, you'll lose a lot of money. So our formula for investing is 7, and it's on the handout. For wholesaling, number 5 is 65%. Number 5 on the handout. 65% of the after repair value, we call that the ARV. After repair value is what the house is worth once it's completely renovated. That's your ARV. Once it's completely renovated, what will it sell for? That's your ARV. So we take 65% of that, of your after repair value, and then we subtract out the repair cost. That's the formula. This is gonna be a tough question.
It's not. It's the same question I always ask, which is, if you're not an agent, how do you calculate the ARV correctly? Because if your ARV is off, everything else is off.
So who can answer that? Who can answer that, Karen? Who can answer that? If you're not an agent, how do you calculate the ARV?
Outside of like prop stream and stuff like that. Like if you
Well,
know
you knew she was gonna say prop stream.
Yes, if you know what's selling, right? How do you know what your house is going to sell?
So I would say number one, so the MLS, the multiple listing service, across the board is what you should be using. If you don't have access to the MLS, then you ask an agent to do that for you. If you can't find an agent, then you call me. If you can't find me, huh?
Remember you said that.
I've ran numbers for you before.
I know, but that's me being nice. I usually do that after.
And so, but there's different ways. And so there is prop stream. There is, it'll come to me.
REI, I think you said. REI.
Zillow?
No.
No, not REI.
So I also use Zillow.
When you use Zillow, are you saying you use that home estimator?
No. And so on Zillow, they have the Zestimate. And the Zestimate is the average or the median. They're going to give you 4 or 5 different properties that they used to get to the median, which is their Zestimate. the after repair value is the highest number.
So you think that's accurate enough?
Yeah, it's always accurate.
Okay.
So it's the highest number on a Zestimate. So you click on Zestimate, it's going to give you the properties that they use to get to the average.
Mhm.
You're going to use the highest one
Mhm.
there. So it might be 400,000 and then maybe 350, 300, 200 that they use. That 400,000 is probably it's close enough to be the ARV.
Would you say that's accurate for Baltimore as well, or different situation? Because they usually pull.
Baltimore, probably not, because Baltimore is really, I was going to say block by block, but it's really street by street.
Mhm.
And so for Baltimore, I think that you really do need to use the MLS. And so if you don't have access to it, just give me a call, and I'll pull those comps for you.
Okay.
All right. And so the wholesaler is going to put the property under contract for 65% of the after repair value minus repair costs. On number 6, that the cash buyer is putting the property under contract at 70%. It says 75 here. That's a typo. It's 70% of the after repair value minus repair costs. And so you guys have to get these numbers. So turn to the back, or right on a scrap piece of paper. Okay. Let's say that we found a property. It's in Capitol Heights, Maryland, and it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's 4 levels, and it's gonna once it's renovated, it's gonna sell for $400,000, right? Once it's renovated, it's gonna sell for $400,000. That $400,000 is the ARV, the after repair value. After that property is repaired, the value is going to be $400,000. You guys with me? As a wholesaler, I'm going to offer to the motivated seller 65% of that, which is what? 260? Did anybody do that in your head? You did in your head? So 260 minus the repair cost. Let's just say the repair cost is $80,000. Let's say the repair cost is $80,000. That gives us what?
180.
It's 180, right? 180 is your MAO, your maximum allowable offer, is your MAO. It's the maximum that you're going to offer the seller. Is the 180. That's what you're going to offer the seller, 180. Now, when you go to the seller, you're going to have an idea of what your offer is going to be, and it's going to be 180. You're going to say to the seller, you're going to try to get them to speak first. Mr. and Miss Seller, do you have an idea what you want to sell your house for? They're going to say 200. You guys with me?
Yeah.
They're going to say 200. You're going to say, well, because the roof is leaking, because we got to repair the siding, because there's termites, I want to offer you 160,000. You guys with me? I want to buy it for 160. I've justified it with some of the repairs. They want 200. You guys with me?
Yep.
What's the easiest negotiating tactic in that scenario? What's the easy? Huh? Say that again. Now, when we meet in the middle, what number do we come up with?
180.
180. And 180 is what? Our MAO, right? So we want to get it for 180. That's how we're going to negotiate. Now, if they say, well, you're the expert, you're the investor, you tell me what you want to buy the property for. Now, I already know my number is 180. Am I going to say 180?
No.
What am I going to say?
160.
160. I might say 150. Huh? I might say 150 because I don't know what they're thinking. But it's a negotiation, and we've got to get to the 180. If I say 180, Mr. Miss Seller, I'll sell it for 180. I mean, I'll buy it for 180. They say good. I'll sell it to you for 180. Is that good?
No.
Why not?
They would have.
Huh? Why?
Should have got a cheaper product.
And so in any negotiation, write this down. In any negotiation, there needs to be a little bit of pain. If I offer 180 and they say, okay, 180, is there any pain in that negotiation? That's too easy, right? Now you're walking away with your head down thinking you could have got it for a better price. And so we need to negotiate. So look, let's say that we were able to negotiate at the 180. We put them under contract with the A to B contract, right? I'm the buyer, they're the seller. We signed the contract. 2 places in the contract says it gives me the right to assign the contract. Now I need to make an offer to my cash buyer. Now let's say my cash buyer is Brian in the back. Brian's my cash buyer. If I sell it to Brian for 180, I don't make any money, no wholesale fee, right? So that's good for him. So my formula to sell to Brian is 70% of the after repair value minus repair costs. So we're going to take 400,000. You guys with me? We're going to take 70%, which gives us what? 280, right? 280,000 minus the repair cost. What's the repair cost? 80,000. How much am I offering this to Brian?
200,000.
200,000. Now, Brian and I could go back and forth in the negotiation also. So there's 2 negotiations. One with the motivated seller as a wholesaler, and then one with the cash buyer. I've got to get Brian to 200. You know why? Because the difference between the 200 and the 180 that I'm under contract for is what?
Your profit. Your fee.
That's my fee, right? The difference. And so I'm trying to make on this deal, I should be making about 20,000. Now, because I know Brian, I'm probably going to offer this to Brian at 210 and he'll probably take it, which means I make 30,000. You guys with me? Brian said, yeah, right. But you guys understand that?
Yes.
And so that's wholesale. And we stick to the formula. When we go outside of the formula, guess what happens? We lose money. Now we use that formula. I use that formula for everything. And so if I'm buying and holding residential properties, I'll use the 70%. But stick to this formula. Where I see a lot of investors go wrong is going outside of the formula, thinking that, well, you know, I'll sell it for my profit. I'm fine at making 10% versus 20%, and so that's not, because things can go wrong if you negotiate wrong. If you negotiate wrong with the seller, then you're not going to be able to sell the property. You put on a contract too high.
Yeah, I got a question. Yeah, you sound so calm by saying that. I know, like I think it depends on the motivated home seller, because, like you said, it has to be some type of pain for them to give up the property for that low, because you probably get cussed out. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. You go too low. Some people will cuss you out, and then they'll be like, "No, I'm not selling my house for that price." But I think it has to be some type of they gotta get rid of this house. It could be like, it could be a senior, maybe. I think they can't live in the house no more. They gotta go to the nursing home. Somebody got to relocate, or probate. Somebody died. They don't want to deal with the property. It's something that's making them want to sell for that price.
Absolutely. So when you take our class and join our program, we'll go over all the. Negotiation is a whole hour and a half class, but you got to know what you got to know what the motivation is from the seller. Are they getting ready to lose the property? I looked at a property in Upper Marlboro a couple years ago, and the electricity didn't work, the water didn't work. They were still living in the property. They couldn't afford to get out of the property. That was their motivation. And so I said to them, I didn't wholesale the property. I did what's called a subject to. I took over their mortgage payment. I gave them money to move out. I renovated the property. Of course, I got the electric and water turned on, renovated the property, sold the property, and then I gave them more money. And so you've got to know what's their motivation. Why do they want to sell the house? And then you speak to that through your negotiation.
You said it's subject to, that's like you're making payments on the house, but you're also renovating the house. While the tenants, I mean, the people are still living in it.
No, they moved out.
They moved out.
I don't do a subject to. Subject to is a creative financing strategy whereby instead of you going out to get a loan, you use the loan that's already on the property. And generally speaking, they're behind in their mortgage payments. And so you run your numbers to make sure all the numbers work. But then you just take over the mortgage payments.
But you transfer title to them.
Yeah, you can, or you can just put a lien on the property.
Okay, so what would be the thing that could allow you to protect you? If you're making these monthly payments, even though they moved out, that they want to transfer it over to you?
The lien. So the lien protects me. They can't sell.
What if they never sell?
Huh?
What if they never sell?
Then I can just sue them. Yeah, I can just sue them. Because we sign a contract.
Now, when you do that, you gotta pay the back mortgage up, or can you make some type of arrangement?
No, yeah. So I did one in Fort Washington, a townhouse. And he had a lot of equity in the property, but the tenants were tearing the property up. The tenants weren't paying. So he gave me a call. He had the property on the market. The agent couldn't sell the property because the tenants wouldn't let them in the property. So I said to him, let your listing agreement expire or just get out of it, get a release. If you can get your tenants out, I'll take over the payments. I'll give you $10,000 for signing the contract, subject to contract. And I'll give you $10,000 for that. I'll renovate the property. It cost me about $30,000 to renovate. And then you come to settlement after I sell the property. And then for you coming to settlement, I'll give you another $10,000. Now there was a lot of equity in the property, but the house was going to go to foreclosure. And so he did everything I asked him to do. I gave him his $10,000 up front, $10,000 at settlement. And then the profits were about $60,000 that I made. I never had to go out and get a loan. I used his loan on the property. That's a subject to. But getting back to, go ahead.
It was just about what are some other situations that you possibly run into? How would you solve?
I mean, we'll get to some. We'll get to some. But you guys, this is the math that you guys have to know, okay? And so this math is you've got to practice. We've got a property at 300,000. Write down 300,000. That's your ARV. That's your after repair value. 300,000. As a wholesaler, you're going to put this property under contract for what price? As a wholesaler. Yeah. Huh? So you're going to put it under contract. Huh?
How much about the repair? Like go to 80,000?
Let's say the repairs are 60,000.
135. 135.
Wait, hold on. All right, so no, so she's right. So 195 minus the 60,000 in repair costs is 135. So we're going to put the property under contract for 135. So ARV is 300,000 after repair value. That's what it's going to sell for. And then we take 65% of that, which is 195, and then we subtract the 195 from the repair costs of $60,000. We get 135. You guys with me? As a wholesaler, I just put that property under contract for 135. I'm going to assign this contract to Josue in the back. Raise your hand, Josue. Josue, the troublemaker. And so if the repair cost is $60,000, what am I offering this same deal to Josue for? I'm offering it to him for 150. How did we get 150? We took the $300,000 after repair costs and we multiplied that by 70%, which is 210. Then we subtracted 210 by $60,000 in repair costs, so we got 150. Now, if Josue accepts this property at 150, I'm under contract for 135. How much money am I walking away with? 15? Are you sure?
Unless you negotiated some more money in between.
No, you're right. It's, so 15,000 is, 15,000 is the wholesale fee. Is everybody clear on the math? Go ahead, Doc.
You keep using the term repair cost. How do we determine the repair cost?
Good question, Doc. And so you've got a number of ways. So number one, let's write this down. You can take a contractor to give you the repair costs. You can take a handyman to give you the repair costs. You can take your cash buyer. So Dana took me to a property in Landover. He was driving for dollars, found this property. I think someone referred him to this property. You with me? And he said, Greg, I was able to skip trace, call this lady, and I scheduled an appointment. He called me. I went with him. And I talked to the lady. I negotiated with her. I determined what the repair cost was, and I made her an offer. I think the offer was it 150? The offer was 150. And so he took a cash buyer. And so that's called reverse wholesaling. Reverse wholesaling is you take your cash buyer with you and let them determine the numbers. You do it in reverse order. And so now you've got a cash buyer. And so I negotiated with her to the 150. She accepted. And then we walked out, and I was excited because I negotiated a good deal, met the formula. I was going to make money. Dana was going to make money. And I thought Dana was going to be excited. But we get out front, and Dana said, you could have got more for that. Am I right, Dana?
Can I say something, Greg? So, what I did was I took my cash buyer. But you have to have people you can trust. Because if you don't have a contract on that property, you go taking some cash buyer that you grabbed out of the sky to that property, there's a good chance you're out the picture. It's just rough out here. So trust is what I'm trying to get across to you. It's important to have
How did you determine the cost that time? How the cost of repair?
It's called experience.
Okay.
And so like I said, I've been doing it since I'm not going to tell you the year, but I've been doing it for a long time. So I'm able to go in, figure out what the repair cost is, and put a number on it. And so those that are not, then you take it like Dana did. You bring your cash buyer, because ultimately they're the one that's going to buy the property anyway, or a contractor, or a mentor, or a handyman, someone that can give you the repair cost. If all else fails, write this down. If all else fails, we're going to take 20% of the as repair value and use that as our repair cost. If all else fails.
So after you bought that property, did you hold that?
I did.
Oh, okay.
So what's the young lady's name right there? Yeah.
Kim.
So you had mentioned about going to seminars and the money that's asked for, scratch the service and asked for money. So I was faced with that decision because to invest in ourselves, to have a business takes an investment.
Of course.
So I was faced with that decision when I finally found out what the fee was to be a part of the Platinum program. So I had to make a decision. I made a decision and I paid Greg his money. But when I wholesale, I go to Greg and Greg pays me much more than what I pay him. So that's how that works.
I mean, the bottom line is you've got to invest in yourself. I mean, we're not going to sit here and ask you for $2,000 or $3,000 or whatever. But to get to your goals a lot faster, and all of us are here because we want to be wealthy, we need more money, we need supplemental income. To get to that goal a lot faster, we get mentorship, we get coaching. And then there's lots of ways to make mistakes and lose money and to get sued. Your coach or your mentor is going to help you in that effort. All right, so go ahead.
I just wanted to add that point on investing in yourself. I was thinking that a lot of times people go to a four-year university and they come out with no education on the experience side. They only have head knowledge. Whereas when we come here and invest in you, you give us take action on the street, what to do, and including knowledge. And it doesn't cost even, not even an iota of what they pay.
Mhm.
You know, and so I just wanted to just give that as a plug because it's worth it.
Absolutely.
To invest here and to continue to invest.
Absolutely.
But we do have to take action.
You got that. So that's the key. Another integral part of wholesaling, you guys, is having a cash buyers list. And so you can find a property, but are you going, as a wholesaler, you can find a property, you can negotiate, but do you have a list of people that you can assign that contract to? If you're finding deals in Baltimore, you're only finding deals in Baltimore because you know that you've got cash buyers that buy in Baltimore. If you're finding multifamily properties, you're only doing that because you have a list of people that invest in multifamily. If you want to wholesale here in Prince George's County, you've got to have a cash buyers list of people who are investing in PG County, cash buyers. And so you need to establish a list. And so write down this list. Write down this list. On the back, I'm going to give you 2 or 3 people. The first one is, I'll just spell it out for you. Gregory Bennett, Gregory Bennett. We've got another cash buyer. Somebody raise your hand. Say your name.
Jade. I got cards.
Jade. So Jade is a cash buyer. She's going to be over here at the end, and she's going to give her information. Go ahead, Gary.
Gary McKeithen.
Gary McKeithen. You can get his information over here. He's a cash buyer. Brian.
Can you talk about, can they also say where they, did you mention
They
location?
can, but I don't want to hold up everything.
Okay.
Huh? They're going to tell you when you come over here. Just ask them. We got Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
Yes, Brian Shanklin, BRIAN, Shanklin, SHANKLIN.
So you'll get Brian over here. You can ask him his email address, his phone number, and where he invests. Back here?
Is it just the area or?
Probably. Where are you investing?
I don't want to do outside of BNB. I'm gonna do all over.
Okay. So most of these.
I'm just starting out, so.
Okay. All right. That's fine. We all had to start somewhere. And so we've got 3 people. Anybody else? Any other cash buyers?
Dan, what's your last?
Lewis, Lewis, DANA, Lewis.
So we got Dana. So far, you guys, you've got 4 people on your cash buyers list. And so in 5, Susan. Who?
I'm gonna say 5 for the people you named.
Oh, there's 5. Okay. All right. So that's a good start. And so the question is, your wholesaling business is only as powerful as your cash buyers list. And so you come to forums like this to build your cash buyers list. There's other RIA meetings, meetups, the auction. You go to the auction, nothing but cash buyers at the auction. You walk around with your clipboard and say, I'm a wholesaler. I'm wholesaling here in Prince George's County. I'd like to take down your name and number and where are you buying properties? Because I'd like to wholesale some deals too. Where else can we find cash buyers, you guys? So there's tools like Investor Lift. You guys can go to investorlift.com. There's tools like PropStream where cash buyers are on PropStream that you can find cash buyers. There's investor groups on social media like Facebook. If I was to find a deal, if one of my relatives referred a deal to me in Beaufort, South Carolina, as an example, and I took a look at it, I would just go on, I would either Google cash buyers or investors in Beaufort, South Carolina, or I would go on Facebook and search on investor groups in Beaufort, South Carolina, and wholesale deals that way. So there's a number of different ways to get to sell your wholesale deals. The key though is number one is finding the deal and then negotiating and then putting it under contract. That's the key. That's your key. That's your challenge, is finding the deals. How are you going to find the deals? And then negotiating to that Mayo formula and then putting them under contract. That's what wholesaling is. Marketing. How are we finding deals? And so I think we've already talked about like referrals. So driving for dollars. Dana talked about driving for dollars. Dana, talk to us a little bit about what that is. What's driving for dollars?
Well, driving for dollars is basically searching for properties that fit. You have to come up with a identity process of what you have mentally of what a person could be in distress, what their home would look like. Some people use tall grass, run down. I look for a roof. Probably the first thing I look at is the roof. If that roof is about to come off or has holes in it, who can live like that? Eventually, it's going to be mold, you know. So what you do is you drive and look for these properties that you think fit your description of depressed property or someone in trouble. Record the address, and then you have to create a method, or there are methods created. Choose your method to get to that owner and have a conversation with that owner. Keep has classes called cold calling classes that I have involved myself in to teach me how to now, after I've done all that, now I'm talking to Gary who's distressed, the proper way to come at Gary, because there's many people calling Gary up because Gary's in trouble with his home. So Keith teaches me how to rise above all these other people that are called. He teaches me a different technique in a way to come at Gary to stand a better chance. So driving for dollars is searching and finding properties that more than likely have a owner that's in trouble. And really, owners that's in trouble is our market. You know, there's a lot of houses out here, but if a person's not in trouble, any agents would tell you, people think their houses are worth more than what they really are. And you get crazy numbers thrown at you. But when somebody's in trouble, you stand a better chance.
So auction properties too. And so we'll get to you, Eric, but Dana, I think your first buy and hold recently was through an auction.
Through an auction. The first was through an auction.
So talk to us. So how'd you get to that?
So we, if you all join the Platinum Group, you will be invited to attend shadowing events. A shadowing event is where we go out mostly on Saturday mornings and we visit properties. So Greg called a shadowing event. I had been in the program for a few months, and he called a shadowing event. I went over in Southeast and walked through the property. He gave us access, walked through the property, and told Greg that I'm gonna bid on this property. And I did. I think it was that was a Saturday, it was a Tuesday, was the auction. I bid, and I wasn't expecting to win the bid. I just wanted to do something because I'd been in the program for a few months and nothing was happening. And I won the bid. And Greg helped me out. He's held my hand the whole time and walked through the process.
So that was one of your first buy and
That was
holds.
the first buy and hold, yes.
And what did you end up doing with that property?
It's being rented right now to veterans. I do business with with different programs, but I have veterans living there that were homeless, so now they have a place to stay, and the program pays their rent.
This might be a side question, but I was just curious, when you do things like that, is providing homes for veterans who are homeless, are you also able to get grant money from the county?
Well, I haven't gotten that far.
Oh,
That's a good idea. I'll look into that. But, yeah, so I'm getting a constant rent. It's really great. I won't go into it. It's really a great program.
Eric, how are you finding your properties?
Anyway, I've done the auctions. Haven't had any success doing auctions, but I've gone through that process from 0 to 100. So I know how I'm able to use that method. But for me, it's more referral based and social media. I've done driving for dollars. Cold calling works. Got a number of leads through cold calling, foreclosure list. Yeah.
Josue in the back, stand up, Josue. He's one of our coaching students. How are you? Actually called me three nights ago. How are you finding your deals?
So right now I'm doing driving for dollars. Just scoping out certain neighborhoods, targeting, and just cold calling them. I have a dollar system, mojo dollar, it down three people at a time, and just go through that an hour or two every single day, and just follow up.
Thank you, Josue.
How do you know if someone's on the do not call list?
So the list that we get, they already scrub them for do not call.
If you're driving, if you're doing.
If you're driving, you don't know. So when we're going driving for dollars, we find a property that looks to be vacant or abandoned, and we'll write down the address. We'll do a process that we call skip tracing, and so we'll use a skip tracer, be it PropStream, REI Skip, whitepages.com. What's that? What's the one?
Deal Machine.
Deal Machine. Yeah, dealmachine.com to get the owner's name and number.
Okay. So as long as you can get the name and number, it's okay to call.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna add how I get my deals, my business. I do like cold calling, I use ready mode, and a lot of deals that I closed on was through virtual assistants. And also I like Facebook. I send Facebook people messages, let them know I sell, that I buy houses.
So social media is good.
Business cards and door tags are good too, because I put them one time I went to the MGM, I used to put my rebuy houses, and I got a call, I had somebody call me, so.
Yeah, everything works. Look, you guys, we're gonna kind of spit out 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different ways to find deals. You've got to pick out just one of those ways that you know that you can be consistent with, and then dominate, master that, and find deals, then continue to do that, and then add something else. So I like direct mail. The two best for me is because my success is pretty much predictable, is number one, direct mail. And so I like sending out direct mail to a targeted audience. I think it was just yesterday that we were able to get a list, or the 2 lists of pre-foreclosures in DC and Prince George's County. And so we were able to get the list. We sent it to a skip tracer. Skip tracer sent it back with their name, number, email address, and I think it had the social media handle. And so with that list, we're going to send that targeted list with script to we're going to send postcards there every month. And then we've got our virtual assistant. So we've created a call center where we have virtual assistants calling for various things. So our virtual assistants will get started calling those lists. And so I like those 2 methods because it's very predictable. We know that for X amount of calls, you're going to get X amount of appointments. And from those appointments, a percentage of those appointments, you're going to close your deal. So we know our numbers. We know the math. We know our analytics is called our KPIs. And so we know that. So it's very predictable. But to get started, and something that all of you guys can do today, tomorrow, is what these guys do is drive neighborhoods, older neighborhoods, neighborhoods that I will say is 30, 40, 50 years or older, where you can buy low and sell high. If a house looks to be vacant or abandoned, just write the addresses down. And then we can show you how to skip trace to get the phone numbers. You can go to, I mean, the easiest thing is just to go to whitepages.com. What I do, if it's a house in DC, I'll just, I'll Google the address and put 202. And a number of different phone numbers will come up, and then I'll just call all of them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the vacant houses, like if there's, like the pre-foreclosure, if the homeowner moved to a new address, do you have to be able to ask that and see where the new address?
I know of that, but I haven't used that. I haven't used that. All right, go ahead, Gary.
No, I would say another method too is to just let everybody that you know that you're looking for property. Your friends, your family, people you work with. If you got a kid that plays baseball, other parents, because somebody knows somebody that's in distress, and then they know that you're looking for stuff. So then it's like planting seeds. So you might tell them today, and then 3 months from now they might have heard something, and they'll contact you and say, "Hey, you're still buying houses because we give you a situation," and that's a good free method too.
And so the thing is, it's just like any other thing. Everyone that you know needs to know that you're a real estate investor, that you buy houses fast, and you buy houses for cash. And so everyone in Gary's church knows that he's a real estate investor. And so one way to find deals is called probate. When one dies, it's required for them to register their property at the Office of Deeds and Wills and open up what's called an estate. And when they open up an estate, that information is public knowledge. And so because of that, the personal representative of each state, their name and address and phone number is in the records. And so there's a lot of investors that work probate, and it's a great way to find deals. It's one of the best ways to get bigger returns on your investment. Because the personal representative, in most cases, just wants to sell the house. Now, because Gary branded himself in his church member was getting phone calls, postcards, letters, but she used Gary as her investor because she knew him, liked him, trusted him. He was in the church because he branded himself. And so that's what you guys need to do. Everybody needs to know that this is what you do. That's why I generally wear, one of my businesses as I'm walking around being my own billboard. And I see some of you guys have your shirts on as well. And so that's another way to brand yourself. You've got to brand yourself. You've got to let everybody know that this is what you're doing and not be ashamed of it, not be a secret about it. Everyone, because you never know who's gonna run into a situation where someone needs to sell their house fast. Now, here's the question: Can you buy that property with cash? Can you?
Yes.
Huh? Can you? If they say I'll sell my house for $200,000, after repair value is $400,000, they want cash. Do you have the cash? Huh? I'm trying to make a point. Huh? You may not have the cash, but I do. Brian might. Gary might. Dana might. You go to your cash buyer. Jay might. And if she doesn't have the cash, she knows how to get the funding for it. But you represent yourself as a cash buyer. You put them under contract. You assign that contract to Jade. You just wholesale that deal to Jade. You understand?
I do have one question. So do you recommend that we check with our end buyers or cash buyers as to, because I was thinking that if you do my name and or signs, or is it better to put the property name in an LLC without the and or signs, or do both?
No, when you're buying a property that's off market, meaning it's not on the MLS, you use your LLC. As long as you use and or signs, it really doesn't matter whether you use your name or your LLC, but I would just use my LLC. Because you're gonna put and or signs, meaning you're the buyer or I'm the buyer. You're gonna assign it to me.
Well, what I'm saying, what if I don't have an LLC?
Then just
And I
use your
put
name.
the property as
If it's a
well.
property that's off market,
Uh-huh.
then just use your name.
Okay,
But make
and
sure you have
then
and or signs.
at the end, but not the LLC with the property address. So in other words, 123 Main Street, LLC, okay, don't do, okay.
No, but I do highly recommend you guys, if you really get into the wholesaling business or the investing business, establish yourself an LLC.
Okay.
But don't do that until a deal is imminent.
Do you put any type of contingency if you can't offload property?
Yes. And so the question is, are there any contingencies in the contract, just in case I can't find a cash buyer? And so, yeah, so using our contract, we have at least two contingencies. One is we have a contingency on a home inspection. We generally put 10 days, 15 days, but that's really for us to give us time to find a cash buyer. And then we have a financing contingency in our contract. It's built into our contract. If we don't get financing within a certain period of time, 10 days, 15 days, then we can deem the contract null and void. But it's really time for us to find a cash buyer, is what it's really for. And to that point, you've got to make sure that you pay attention to those dates. Because if you can't find a cash buyer, then you've got to pull out. Because if you don't, the seller could sue you. But that's why we do what's called reverse wholesaling, is because we find that cash buyer before we even write the contract. So there's no issues with finding the cash buyer. Hey, Greg, I've got this property at 123 Main Street in Laurel, Maryland. Can you run your numbers and tell me what you would buy it for, or can you go with me?
So with your cash buyers, you also want to indicate where they buy, because that's important. If they're not, if you know that Gary is buying in Anne Arundel County, you want to specifically target those properties, correct?
Yeah. Yes, Gary's not buying in Anne Arundel County, but I buy in Anne Arundel County. And so you find a property in Anne Arundel County, you may call Gary, but Gary's going to say, I only stick to DC.
Gotcha.
But I'll say, okay, I'll buy that in Anne Arundel County. Gary doesn't even know where Anne Arundel County is.
Yeah, I do.
But you only buy in DC though.
Nah, DCPG, and then if he calls, and if I know somebody else, my thing is this: if there's a house for sale, how can I make money off of it?
Right.
Yeah.
So I might not be interested in Arundel County, but I know you are,
Yeah.
and just facilitate that and
Exactly.
get referral fee.
Oh, that's
You like that?
I like
You
it.
you see cash buyer?
How about Virginia?
We can talk. We can talk. My first deal with it.
All right, any questions so far, you guys? All right.
I'm just curious, what percentage of your business is wholesale versus buy and hold?
Mine now, probably, I'll say 50-50. About 50-50, maybe a little more wholesaling. And so I'll just take the last year. Yeah, definitely more wholesaling.
I got a question. That when you come across someone that wants to wholesale, but then wholesale deal, but then they give you this market value price, like they say, well, my house is renovated, there's nothing wrong with it. Do you list it? Do you come in and like maybe be a realtor listed?
Absolutely. So for that reason is why I initially got my real estate license, because I was running across deals that or motivated sellers that wanted to sell. I couldn't negotiate them down to an investment price. And so because I didn't have a real estate license, I just had to walk away. But then I got my real estate license a few years later. Now, if the numbers don't work, there's still a motivated seller that needs to sell. If you have a real estate license, which is not required to be a wholesaler, now you can list a property and make a commission, 10,000, whatever, $8,000, $15,000, you can make a commission. And so I do highly recommend getting your real estate license, but it's not required to be an investor. It's not required to be a wholesaler. We are an investor-friendly real estate company that does a great job. We've got Terry. Come here, Terry. That's your cue. And so Terry's one of our real estate agents. She does investing. Actually, I think she had an investment deal one time and somebody stole it. Remember that?
I'm not doing that. How are y'all doing?
So talk to them about our brokerage here.
So
How long you been here, Terry?
I've been here 9 years. So a very long time. I started out here in this office. I love it 100%. But one thing that I've learned from other offices is at 100%, you just don't get the training and you don't get the access that you have here. It's just it is an investor friendly office. So it's so many investors here that if you get a wholesale deal, you're going to get it worked out right in the office. I mean, because it's like Greg said, most of the time, Greg is the one, but outside of Greg, if Greg's like, well, I don't want that area. It's so many other investors in this office that there's nowhere else to go. You don't need to. So that part I definitely love. And like I said, the trainings, like it's always something to learn. It's always, Greg tells you all the secrets. So even when I went to another office, because I'm also licensed in another state. So when I went there and I started looking at 100%, it was like, well, at 100%, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. And I'm spoiled. Greg spoiled me. So I was like, wait a minute. So just those tools, when I went somewhere else, I appreciated them so much more here. So, and we're family. I mean, that's the best part. Like Greg's a phone call away for anything, whether it's a wholesale deal, an investment question, a real estate question. As a realtor, like you can always just he'll pick up the phone. If not, he'll text me, hey, I'll call you back in 10 minutes. And he actually does. So other offices, you just don't get that. So, I mean, I've learned that, you can't get to your broker in some offices. So we really are family here.
I didn't know I was that good.
Did I do good? See?
You did. Y'all got any cash on you?
He'll pay you back. He'll pay you back.
Well, thank you, Terry.
See? There you go.
Give Terry a hand. Hey, so look, you guys, here's the challenge. Here's the challenge. I challenge everybody here to find a wholesale deal in the next 60 days. The next 60 days, that's my challenge, to find a deal. And so the question is, how are you going to find that deal? How are you going to find it? Somebody tell me. What are some of the steps that you guys need to make, or some of the things that you need to do?
Build your cash buyers list.
So somebody said, build your cash buyers list. All right, write that down. Actually, on page 3, we've got a list. You guys can cheat if you want, but number 3 is build your cash buyers list. And so build your cash buyers list. You got started today. Actually, Jay is here. Raise your hand, Jay. She's a cash buyer. I'll have her over here as well. She can give you guys her information. What else do we need to do to get our first deal or get a deal in the next 60 days? We're going to build a cash buyers list. What else?
Figure out how you want to market.
Marketing. And so how are you going to market? How are you guys going to find that next deal? Somebody raise your hand and tell me. How are you going to find, Susan?
Pre-foreclosure.
She's going to work pre-foreclosures. So she's going to get a list. It's not that difficult to get a list. She's going to get a list, and then she's either going to call that list with a script, or she's going to mail out to those pre-foreclosures. She's probably going to, I just got a pre-foreclosure list yesterday, so she's probably going to try to get my list.
Yeah.
Is that what she's going to do?
Where do you get the list?
Where do you get the
I
list?
have my way.
She's got her way. She still has the password to some stuff. Here's where you get the list. You can get your list from listsource.com, listsource.com. You can get the list from listability.com. You can get the list from, if you really know that you're going to get into real estate investing, there's a tool called PropStream. You can get your list from PropStream. You guys familiar with PropStream? some of you guys. melissadata.com. You can get a list. Melissa, like the lady's name, Melissa. melissadata.com. There's so many sites that you can get the list. The list generally costs, I don't know, somewhere around 10 cents per person. But just call the list. And so that's where you get the list. So you call one of those services or go online and you just tell them what you want. I want a list of absentee owners in Prince George's County that have owned their house at least for 5 years, has at least 3 bedrooms. So they can break down the list that way. So you have different, what's called filters that you can filter the list. Or you'll say, I want residential only, or I want multifamily only. And that's how you filter that list out. And then you buy that list, and then you can, some of the data sources won't have like email addresses. If you want email addresses, you send it to reiskip.com, and they'll give you all the phone numbers, email addresses, social media, all that. How else are you guys going to find deals? You got to go out this weekend and find you a deal. Where are you going to find it? Driving for dollars. Everybody should be doing that. On your way home, look for houses that look to be old, houses that the grass is overgrown, mail is falling out of the mailbox. Look for houses that need a lot of repair. Roof, siding. Write down those addresses, and then we'll show you how to skip trace to get the phone numbers.
Yeah, do you look at the age of the property too?
Yes.
You know, like,
So I look at the age and I look at the equity.
yeah.
Yeah. And so you can get lists of homeowners who have at least 50% equity in their property, or you can get a list of homeowners who own their houses free and clear and call them with the script or send them postcards with the script. The more aggressive that you guys are, the more successful you'll be.
You target seniors?
Yeah. I've got a list of seniors.
Yeah, I have someone to help with finding like I never done a contract before, so where do I get it? Sell it? Like, where do we get the contracts? To put someone under?
You can get them from me. And so you could either join our coaching program and you'll get it free, or we have what's it called? Toolkit? Or Investor Toolkit. Is it called? I think it's investortoolkit.com that you get all of our forms. And I'm happy to help you write the contracts.
Thank you. I know nothing about it.
You find a deal, I'll do it. I'll do the whole deal. You still not gonna know anything, but you're gonna make some money. I mean, look at Dana. Just look at Dana right now. He don't know nothing, but he's done about 3 or 4 wholesale deals, and he's got some buying. He's smiling all the way to the bank, but he don't know nothing. Dana knows I like that stuff.
He said he knew HVAC.
he know HVAC. Now Dana's smart enough to know. Let me just get out the way and let Greg do his thing.
That's correct. Exactly.
How else are you going to find a deal? What are you going to do this weekend to change your life? To find a deal, something that you can do, something honestly that doesn't cost any money. I think driving for dollars is one of the best ways. Walking neighborhoods, getting to know the neighbors, knocking on doors if you're bold enough to do that, getting a list and making phone calls. Keith has a class. Keith, you want to stand up and talk about the class you do on Thursday nights and a little bit about the coaching program?
Yeah. So first off, guys, before we forget, make sure you fill out your surveys. We're always curious to know what content you're looking for, what you want to learn. Fill this out, and this leads you to perhaps winning this TV today. So make sure you
can't win the TV without filling out that form.
Okay. What's that?
No, I said that they can't win the TV without filling out the form.
That's right. So guys, I'm Keith, Greg's brother. I do have a cold call class every Thursday night. We drill objections. How can we not sound like 99% of the people that make denials? What can we say differently? And you'd be surprised at some of the simple things that you could do in your call. So I invite you guys to that call, my call center class, Thursday nights at 6:30. While I'm up here, I'll talk a little bit about some of our products. So we do have a inner circle group to keep you connected to Greg. And what we're doing as a bit, it only costs $1 to sign up. And yeah, you'll be charged, I think, $97 thereafter every month, but at least your foot's in the door. And now you got access. We have, mastermind groups once a month. But ultimately, if you want to get all the way up that mountaintop, you need to be in our platinum coaching program. We feel like we have a really good, solid, very organic platinum coaching. So I won't talk products here and what you get in it, but many of you guys are still on the fence. It's time to get off the fence. It's July now, basically. How do you want to finish the year? So I stand ready to meet with you guys. We can set up a free 30-minute consultation. We talk about what to do, but we need to develop a schedule that's going to, every day or every other day you're doing something. And many of us need to sit down with someone and look at, from the time we wake to the time we go to sleep, what are we doing in those gaps of time? So I'll be here too to talk to you guys about our platinum coaching, our inner circle, set an appointment, and let's go. Let's go.
All right. And so I told you guys that you guys have to establish a team, and the team is going to help you. Part of that team is a wholesale friendly title company. And so here we're fortunate to have Celebrate Settlements. We've got some representatives from Celebrate here in Novera. Come here, Novera. Novera uses, she's one of our real estate agents. Novera, let's give Novera a hand. Novera, talk to us a little bit about your experience with Celebrate Settlements.
I love it. I love Celebrate. I've been in the business 20 years.
We were at Remax together back in the day.
We were at Remax in 2004. And then I circled back and I just joined Bennett Realty like almost 2 years now. And it's been a journey for me. Sometimes you have a lot of obligations in life, right? And so real estate wasn't really fun. It was just what I did. Now it's become fun and I've enjoyed it, and it's like a family here. I love Celebrate. They're great, my clients. They're very responsive, very nice team, very professional. The only title company I use now.
Good, Novera.
I love it.
Okay. We're going to give you a sandwich for saying that. Thank you, Novera. One last thing, you guys. Your wholesale fee, everybody pay attention. Your wholesale fee, you're going to make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. Is that tax-free money? This is not a trick question. Is that tax-free money? So that's earned income, right? And so it's capital gain. And so just know, here's the thing, you guys. It's the cash buyer that is supposed to give you a W-9. Have you signed a W-9? When they give you the money, and then at the end of the year, they're supposed to give you a 1099, the cash buyer, a 1099. You guys with me? 95. Huh? No, because on the contract, it says that they're going to give it to you. The cash buyer gives it to you. On the contract, it says they give it to you. And so at the end of the year, they're supposed to give you a 1099. 90% of the time, they don't. And so you could look at it as free money. But if you were ever to get audited, the IRS is going to say, what happened to that money that cash buyer gave you? So just know that it's a capital gain. You've got to pay capital gain taxes. Now, is there ways to get around that? Are there expenses that you can write off, business expenses? Absolutely. And so confer with me, and I can help you with all of them. with all the kind of loopholes, but know that that's not free money. And so, Eric, we'll start with you. What advice would you give everybody just getting started investing, or question first?
I had a question. You said the cash bar was put into your W-9, but what was the form you said at the end of the year that you should receive?
1099. Eric, what advice would you give them?
Stay focused, stay connected.
Somebody help her, please.
Stay connected to like-minded people. And then when you fall off, which you could, it's easy to do, just jump back in, stay connected.
All right, Dana?
The advice I would give is, let me just say, I tried this many years ago, over 20 years ago, and fell flat on my face. The advice I would give to, because whenever we're faced with spending money, a block goes up. My advice is to push that block out the way and join a group, because people are testifying. I have no reason to want you all to join this group, because that's more competition I got out on the streets. But I'm saying to you, what benefits you in your life. My life has totally changed. My life is totally different because I made the investment. The investment of purchasing the membership into the Platinum Group. My life is totally different. It wouldn't be this way. I would be working until my death probably if I did. I've been working for many, many more years, and I'm 62 now. So I'm saying is my life has totally changed because I went on and made the move. So that's my advice, to go ahead and just do it. Move the block out the way and just do it.
Question.
How long is the coaching program?
It's 6 months.
Okay, and then after that?
You can renew it.
Okay.
All right, you guys, any questions? Any questions? Hopefully you guys walk away with at least one nugget, maybe 2 nuggets. Go ahead.
Overall questions or like?
Just overall.
Okay, overall.
Can we get at the end? Can we get you to sing for us?
I'll be proud.
Okay, I think you should start cold calling.
You
need to talk to me.
Realist of women.
Going to buy a house.
All right, go ahead, Barry Gordon. I mean, Barry.
No, I know.
Okay, Barry White.
But what are some of the issues that you probably ran into your situation, and how have you solved them over the years of experience?
You know what comes to mind in terms of situations that I've ran into? What quickly comes to mind in this industry is dealing with contractors. And so that can be a major stumbling block, just dealing with the right contractors. It's a necessary evil that we need in our industry. And it's not to say that all contractors are bad, but just that's what comes to mind for me, is just dealing with contractors. And that's what makes wholesaling so attractive, is that you're not dealing with contractors. And so you kind of eliminate that hurdle, because you're not, the cash buyer is dealing with the contractor, you're not. And so unless you have your own crew, and unless you can be there almost on a daily basis, it's wholesaling that you should be doing, because they need to be managed. And that's what comes. There's other obstacles that we run across, especially if either we bought the property, put the property on the contract wrong, or can't get financing. But the contractors is what stands out for me.
In the Platinum Coaching Program, do you get access to contractors? Because I find that that's one of the things that I'm trying to develop now, is a list of contractors, trusted contractors.
Yeah, so I'll say yes to your answer. And so these guys, especially Dana, have used my contractors, but I'm always nervous referring contractors, because they might do a good job for me, they might do a good job for these guys, and then if they don't do a good job for you, you're gonna be looking at me. And so, do you have access? Yes. And they've done good by you, Dana?
Yeah, yes.
So you just never know. But here's a good thing about our coaching program. we share contractors. So this is Jay. Stand up, Jay.
No.
Now.
What do you want?
And so Jay's one of our coaching students. What do you like about our coaching program? And then speak to sharing contractors.
Okay, so Dana knows intimately contractors for me and the Karen does too is a challenge. And not to be sexist, but I think that's is particular to females in the business. And so what I will say is that we, in addition to a myriad of other things, we are generous with our contractor referrals, but understanding that it's so intricate. Like, what is their scope of work? What did they do for you? How do they work? How do you like to work? Do you like to be at the property all the time? Do you like to every finish? It just depends on you. So interview your contractors, give referrals. You know, we're generous with our resources, so you can ask people, what didn't you like about them? What did you like about them? What I like about the coaching program is kind of echoing what Dana said. So again, I'm not on Greg's payroll. I pay my money like everybody else. So I moved here from New York and always wanted to get into real estate investing. So I was a real estate attorney. I wanted to get into real estate investing and had mentors, but didn't have a coach. And so I found out about the program just kind of like on a fluke from a young lady in one of my apartment complexes. Had a consult with Keith, had a consult with Greg, and a year later, like Dana said, has completely changed my life. So I'm up. I didn't have any properties when I started. I'm up 4 buy and holds now that I own, and about 8 others coming in, maybe 8 or 10, somewhere between that. Again, I equally as important as having access to Greg, which it is important because, you know, he's been doing this for 10,000 billion years. He's a dinosaur, like literally has come back and done it. Okay, just kidding. But I wanted to get the benefit in a program of having someone who has all the secrets, who knows all these things, and I didn't have to make the same mistakes. Yeah. I'm 33 years old. And I want to sort of realize some of the things that he talks about. So investing early, having freedom with my time. Being a real estate attorney, I traded my time for money like it was nobody's business. And I also have a why as well. So I have a niece that I want to leave a legacy for. And I find that a lot of my colleagues in the coaching program have that same drive behind them. And so they keep me going. I brainstorm with Karen all the time about different ways we can approach a deal. We're so generous with our resources, it's ridiculous. It's like they're not even my competitors. We all are just like a group of people marching towards the same thing. What did you ask me to say? Sorry.
You did good. You did good. You did good. You did good.
Okay, gotcha.
Give her a hand. All right, any questions, you guys? So the challenge is take the information that we've provided for you and do something with it, okay? Do something with it. Even if it's just building your cash buyers list, do something with it. Is Sylvia here? Oh, okay, all right. We do have, we do focus also on financial services. We have a company called Big Life. And so if you're ever in need of protecting yourself, protecting your family, protecting your properties, mortgage protection insurance, we do have a company that can do all of those things. I have an agent that recently contacted me this week and had a family member that passed away, and they set up a GoFundMe page. And my thought was, you know, if they had insurance, some type of insurance, they wouldn't have had to do that. And so let's protect ourselves. And so if you guys have any questions about like financial services or anything like that, just let me know. I want to thank Terry and Overa, Jade. Love to thank Eric and Dana, Keith for speaking, for being here. Portia and Harry for putting all this thing together. Did I give you a shout out, Terry? All right, you guys. I'd like to have all the cash buyers over here. Have all the cash buyers over here to give out your information. Turn in the purple sheets. get something to eat in about 15 minutes. 15 minutes, we're going to do the drawing for the 55-inch TV. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Hopefully you have an understanding now.
I do, I'm excited.
Celebrate can't win the TV, by the way. Go ahead.
Yes. How you doing, man?
So where do you buy?
This is DCPG, all around the building. Okay. And like when you said, I mean, like I said, my thing is, if I can make money off of it, okay, so you always got something out of that area, just call me anyway. Okay.
How you doing, Gary? I'm Valerie. Yeah,
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. Okay. So you buy in DC, Maryland, Virginia,
What about Virginia? What you think about?
Fairfax, in the Woodbridge area. I actually already, I'm looking at some like foreclosures in that area. Yeah, so I'll give you.
It's all about, I mean, so I was going I don't have any, this is like my first remix.
Yeah, me too. I'm new too. Yeah.
So they eventually, I think we believe this, but we are remixing. It's all about networking and relationships. And so we were in what year was you there? Yeah, I had the best investment in the United States. Nobody knows to do it. That was like holy things, right? Let everybody know. And yeah, I was in that office. So like, I'm raised group. I mean, like 2 other groups.
Yeah, I'm in another group.
Yeah, you're the platinum coach. I'm in the circle.
Yeah, I'm in the inner
I'm in the circle. I get the platinum. In the circle is
yeah.
It's a group we network. We got a Tuesday night call. It's not the mentorship. I've been doing since 2002. I really need
full coaching.
Full coaching.
Yeah.
I've done that with everybody else. But I'm into networking and relationships. You know, I've been really first involved with a couple of months ago. He had a house tour involved. I really just go just to see and get a feel for it. So now I'm open to it. I haven't done anything yet. Okay, so just everybody, you got any questions? Yeah, I like having my mouth. I like talking about this stuff. I'm a top 5.
Thank you, Keith. Gary. Thank you, Gary.
No problem. Let me know. Let me know what you got.
Yep. Okay.
What's up? How you? I can help you out. Yeah,
So, you know, well, I'm here, but I am what but what I need to do is go back.
Oh, okay.
That's why they got a break.
We used to watch together, watching him I was connected with him. Bring a plus tool. For me, but it's people that that's all they do is full-time investment.
Like,
My other question is, in addition to teaching, back to school. So time is during the school season, extremely. So is there a place?
Let everybody know what you do. Start
There comes some credibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you gotta put it there, check. You're not gonna, everyone's not gonna sit here like this. You just gotta go through that before you get it.
You find something, there's other people like me that
You mentioned is, are we only able to the ones that are not under the
let's deal with you get off market. Like, you know, he was talking about
yeah, yeah.
that was Turn the gas, his mom, stepmom. Yeah, his mom. Yeah. So these investors. So we have been talking, right? I'm talking these because Kendra, I got it. But Kendra kept talking. So we were talking, he said, Kendra was over the house talking to y'all. And his ass house is like turning boards, we're going to every weekend, trying to clean the house up every day. And tell her, don't sit down and talk, and we're able to buy it. By all means, take out the house whatever you want, but whatever you don't want, leave. Because older people, that's got a house full of stuff. And pretty much a lot of it, junk, you know. But families stressed out over what to do, going over every weekend. You know that. I was working on another project at the time, and they showed it to her. And she said, well, house. Let's just do it now. You know your schedule. Somebody passed away. Target those lists. What probate? So the list is awesome. Right. Like no, I'm gonna go and do it because I know y'all. And I know you would do the same thing for me that you do for me. So my thing was at the time, I really feel like renovation. That's what I said. You should be my one. I said, we should find something.
What's best for everybody has to find
everything better. John, same one. Yeah. So I said, I told Jesus, I said, find somebody. So I just contacted him, get flagged. 2019. I heard him. All his agency and everything, just through the investor network. He had never met this person. And he was on Facebook because Facebook, I got two rules. I have to either have had a conversation with you to be your friend, or you do something to somebody says we put a request in a firefighter, I'll add them to their real estate investment. So he went right now. I was the one who did that. So I went to say, I'm going to be there. Because it's on me. So him and stuff I got John Peterson, that's where I is. That's such a thing, the Monday night.
like the Monday night meetings and Zoom
Because,
what
you start selling property.
I remember you said you wanted a meeting like this.
That's all play. Yeah, that's another. So
Yeah, so on Monday,
this is who I actually took my first class. So I did that. So basically,
For networking?
because some people come in, they ain't going nowhere else. Some people go there, they ain't going nowhere else. So you get the and then I mean it's you get active as fast as you want, and then everybody's on Zoom, YouTube. So it's like okay, I can't like this. Instagram Live right here.
Oh, okay.
So if you could break everything, you just go. So I had
Is this a listing that you already have?
on the house, basically.
Okay.
Break off.
Yeah, just talk to them.
Which one? I know I saw a girl who used them, but.
Yeah, but see that guy right here? Steve, the guy feeding the snakes. Huh? He is. Does he know?
Still gonna be using my in the okay, so when he yeah, and Jerry got a paralytic carry.
You start thinking about Wait to start it. Don't be like, oh, Bob. This is one of my church classes.
Is that right?
I'm trying to get in there and fix your phone on your HVAC.
They don't think
Hopefully you learned something. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay. You need it. So my number is on the handout right here. If you have any questions or need some advice or anything, just call me. Okay. How are you?
Oh, yeah.
So if you wanna sit down with me one-on-one, we'll put together a plan, that's fine.
Yeah. What's your name? Sharon. Oh, Sharon. Nice to meet you.
Good.
Are you on Facebook? Some referral question. Yeah. Well, if not, So, sure, you want to get on my schedule? Why don't you sit down?
What, the attorney from like ever contact
You want to
me?
sit down or you
Sure,
got?
I can sit down. But with the attorney contacting you ever, let's get stuff on mine, I'm like, all that, but I don't have a real estate license, I really don't want to get one right now.
You don't have to.
Later.
Are you?
Yeah, so I have to
Change everything, and then, you know, register everything, all they do is insurance, but it's all about.
So when do you want to be? So you wanna schedule something now, or you wanna call me and schedule? Okay. Okay, we can talk about those things. Well, yeah. So what's good for you? How about Monday? What about 2 o'clock? You're right. What's your last name? Give me your phone number. Yeah, you could meet me here. My suite's downstairs. You can just come downstairs and suite. How'd you end up here? Now, how'd you know it was here, though? Good? And you want to do this now? Hey, did everybody fill out a form? Did everybody fill out a form? We're getting ready to do the drawing for the TV, 55-inch TV. Saw that? Gary, did you fill out your form? Okay.
Did everybody fill out their form? Last call.
Josue, fill your form out.
Keith, pick one.
Look at Tiffany. Come here, Tiffany. You have to be here to win. You have to be here.
All right. So the winner is Alicia, Alesha. Oh, that would be me.
Where, Portia? Alicia, you won. You've never won anything.
You want to take a picture with us?
There you go. Huh? Are you sure it says Alicia?
I didn't know say that's my picture.
I think it says Josue. Where's our bow? Don't we have a bow? Wait, hold on. Alicia, can you get this in your car?
Oh, we'll get it.
All right, 1, 2. All right, let me get one with her first.
Let's give Alicia a hand.